So, Blue Bossa, it's really, really simple. It's really, really popular and it's really, really fun. If you're an absolute beginner and this is one of your first jazz standards, I'm going to show you everything that you're going to need to solo over this one confidently. And if you stick around to the end, I'm also going to show you some more advanced techniques to really make it sound like you've mastered this one. So there's a lot to cover here. If you like this sort of thing, do hit the like button, do hit subscribe, and let's get into it. So the first thing that you're going to want to know are the arpeggios, and there's not actually that many arpeggios here that you really need to know. There's not that many chords in Blue Bossa, certainly not for a jazz standard. So I'm going to talk you through the first 4 arpeggios that you need to learn. The first 4 arpeggios are as follows. We've got C minor 7, we've got F minor 7, we've got D minor 7 flat 5, and we've got G7. To C minor 7. Coming out of that 2-5, the second C minor 7 that I arpeggiate, I'm actually raising the 7th, okay? So we want to raise the 7th when we come out of the 2-5 back to the 1 chord, because raising that 7th is going to allow us to harmonise with our G7 chord, and it's utilising the C harmonic minor scale, which I'll talk about in a bit. There's 3 more chords that you really need to be able to arpeggiate. The next 3 chords are a E flat minor 7 to a flat 7 to a D flat major 7. So we've got a 2-5-1 here in D flat major 7, okay? So those arpeggios go like this. Okay? And then we go back to our 2-5. And then back to our 1. So that's really it. It's that simple. If you know those arpeggios, then you can already start to feel your way through this tune. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just play those arpeggios over the chords, and you can see how they sound. And what I'd suggest is that you just practice this just over a backing track to start with. Just get used to these arpeggios. Obviously, we're going to be targeting certain notes in those arpeggios. I'm going to talk to you about that in a minute. But let's just hear those arpeggios over the chord progression. So if we're thinking about target notes that we're going to need, for the C minor 7, I like to target the 3rd, which is the E flat. So that's probably going to be my target note for that one. In terms of our F minor 7, I think that the A flat works really well. You've got that here as well, okay? So, okay. For the D minor 7 flat 5, I think that the flat 5 works really well. We've got an A flat there, which works really well, but of course we've already used that, so depending on whether if you're coming out of that F chord, if you've already used it, you might want to instead go for the 3rd of that one, which would be the F. Okay, so the flat 5 will work, but also the 3rd will work really well. And for the G7, you really want to go for the 3rd again, which is the B. Okay. In terms of the 2-5-1 in D flat, target note that I would go for is probably going to be this one, your G flat, okay? And then I'd probably go for, let's see, what have we got here? Probably the C in the A flat 7, okay? And then the F for the D flat major 7, sorry. So let's just hear that progression again, and this time I'm just going to play the target notes, and you can hear again that it's going to spell out the changes really, really well. So again, as you can hear, targeting those 3rds works really, really well. It spells out the changes really, really clearly, and it might sound a bit basic sitting and just playing the 3rd of every chord over the chord progression. But if you're new to this, or if you're not confident with the standard, this is the way to do it, in my opinion. Learn the arpeggios first, then once you practice the arpeggios, you can play those arpeggios starting on the root over the whole progression, and you've got those under your fingers. Then start just trying to identify, what are my target notes? Usually it's going to be thirds. I think thirds are probably the best place to start because they're strong notes, and just play those thirds over the chords and just get used to where they are. Once you've done that, you can then start to try and join those thirds up using some chromaticism and using those arpeggios, but not starting on the root, starting maybe on the third and trying to find the third of the next one. And if you do that, you end up with something like this. So again, you can hear that I'm keeping it relatively simple there, nothing too clever. I'm just joining up really those arpeggios, targeting those thirds, okay? And that's really going to take you quite far. Something I did at the end there, though, was I used the C harmonic minor scale. So soloing over that 2-5-1 in C minor, it's really good idea, instead of using the regular C minor scale, the natural minor, to use the harmonic minor. So if you do want a scale-based approach to this, one good way of approaching it is to use arpeggios, but combine those arpeggios with the C harmonic minor scale when you're soloing over that 2-5-1. So the C harmonic minor scale is this. We've just got that raised seventh, and as I alluded to at the beginning of the video, that gives us this minor major chord, which allows us to kind of get that B in there, which harmonizes with our G7, but also gives us that leading tone, that semitone below the root of the C, creates a bit of tension, okay? So that C harmonic minor scale is really good to solo, to play over the 2-5-1, okay? So like I said at the beginning of this video, there are some more advanced ideas that you can bring in. I would recommend, first of all, if you're new to this, that you start by just learning those arpeggios, get confident with those arpeggios all over the neck, get confident with where the thirds are and playing those thirds. And then once you've done that, you can start to introduce some more ideas. One of the things that you can do over the 2-5-1 is you can play the B diminished seventh arpeggio. It's going to work really, really well because it's going to give you the third of that G7 chord. So it's going to give you the fifth of the G7 chord. It's going to give you the flat 7 of the G7 chord, and it's also going to give you the flat 9 of the G7 chord. So you're going to get some nice outside sounds from that. Okay. Another thing that's really cool is using tritone subs, arpeggiating tritone subs. So for instance, that 2-5-1 in C minor 7, you've got the D minor 7 flat 5, you've got the G7, and then you've got the C minor 7. And what you could do is you could arpeggiate the G minor 7 flat 5, but then instead of arpeggiating the G7, arpeggiate a D flat 7. So we'd get something like this. And you can hear that's really spelling out those changes. So that's a really good one as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play over that little progression, that Blue Bossa progression. I'm going to try and incorporate some of these ideas as well. I'm going to try and incorporate the tritone sub over the 2-5-1 in C minor. And I'm also going to try and incorporate that diminished seventh arpeggio, B diminished seventh arpeggio. And you can hear how that sounds as well. So I hope that's been useful, folks. Like I say, if you're new to this, get those arpeggios under your fingers first, then start learning to target thirds. Once you've really got used to targeting those thirds, throwing in a little bit of chromaticism, maybe some chromatic enclosures, then you can maybe start thinking about using some diminished seventh arpeggios, some tritone sub arpeggios, and that's really going to sort of give you everything that you need. Just have fun with this one, and like I say, it is a lot of fun. It's also a nice simple one. So if this has been useful, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You know, it really helps the channel. Leave me a comment, let me know how you're getting on, and until next time, as always, keep making music.